back, everybody, to the Secret Sauce Podcast. I'm Chad Treese. I'm my co-host, Lacey Moores. Happy Red Friday.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're filming this on a Friday. It's going to actually post on a Friday.
So we're legit.
So this is legit. Yeah, at the time of filming, the Chiefs are undefeated. Hopefully, by the time this video drops, we're still undefeated. Let's jump into it. So we just got back from an event hosted by Summit Funding.
Yep.
Right? And the theme really spoke to me. Let's not give it away. I want to tell the story, right? But, I think it spoke to both of us, right?
Sure. Well, the event was for our industry in a whole. So just to kind of set the stage, the industry is for real estate agents and mortgage kind of in this event was. So we had a bunch of people from all avenues there. And yeah, it was a really impactful theme. We knew about it ahead of time, but it changed when we were there. Like the understanding and the passion behind it. So that's why we really wanted to share. But yeah, go.
All right.
Tell them where it came from.
All right. So it's a long time ago. Can't tell you exactly how long ago. Right. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Yep. This is the story. There was a Spanish conquistador that was basically had his fleet and his army. They were going to try to conquer a new land, Veracruz, Mexico. And it had been a stronghold. Nobody had been able to defeat the Aztec Empire in Veracruz for over 600 years.
Oh, wow.
So this was a life-changing moment, basically. Yep. It had been a very long and treacherous trip over there, thinking back in the ships back in the day. So, I mean, it was definitely not fun. They get there, they're exhausted, and they know they have to go try to do something that nobody's done before. And
can you imagine?
Yeah, all of the troops, or all of his troops are, you could tell, scared. Kind of looking back, like, what's our escape plan here if this doesn't work out? And Hernán Cortés is the general's name. He told everybody to look back, look at the boats right before they took the island. He uttered 3 words that would change the course of history. Burn the boats.
Gives me goosebumps.
Right? It does. It's pretty cool. Basically, what he's telling them is, we are going to succeed, or we're going to die.
We're not going to have a backup plan.
We are not leaving here on these boats. And basically making sure that they knew that there was no escape plan. There was no plan B. And that's what they needed. They went on to win that battle, and not only win that battle, but they went on to defeat the entire Aztec Empire. So very inspiring. Yeah. And that's what we wanted to talk about. That's what that theme of the event was, and I think it's a perfect thing for us to chat about.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many parallels in life, in business, that there are burn the boat moments, or possible potential burn the boat moments that maybe people need to
really stop and think about what theirs was. Yeah. So for context, we had our leader of our coaching division. His name is Jim Reed. He shared his story about his burn the boat moment. So from his standpoint, I'll make it quick. But when he was younger, working at a grocery store, or still in college, it doesn't matter. But he blew money. He didn't really care, and he always had his mom. And he would be able to call his mom, and his mom would help him and give him money if he help. Anytime he needed it. He just knew that he could call his mom, and so he didn't really ever do much, and so his dad finally found out. Dad never knew. Dad finally finds out, and Dad finally calls him and said, "The bank of Mom is closed. You are done. You will never call her ever again for money. Yeah. And if I ever hear about it," and so this was like one of his burn the boats moments in his life where everything just got real.
Yeah.
And he no longer had this backup plan. He had to figure it out on his own. Now, his dad did say, "You need help, you can call me."
That's more, that was
but you're not going to the easy route. Yeah. You're not going to have this backup plan just so you can do whatever it is you want to do. It was a really good story for us to we heard the story of Burn the Boats. It's kind of saw his personal, how it was him. And so it just really kind of challenged all of us sitting there to talk about what is our Burn the Boat moment. And I mean, I think we could come up with several,
I love the bank of mama's clothes. Before we jump off of that, it's hilarious just to think about your dad calling you up and saying the bank of mama's clothes. He actually had his boat burned for him. His dad burned his boat.
Yeah, he didn't burn it.
But but you still have to recognize, like, this is a life-altering moment.
Yeah.
And, to have the wherewithal to understand.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just shrink away. Like, I need to step up. I need to
do something.
Go make some changes.
Yeah.
And that's when he got out of the grocery business and fully committed to the mortgage industry.
That's right, because he had been doing both of them.
Doing both.
That's right. That's right.
And not doing either one well.
Committed, anything. You're right.
Yeah.
Thanks for adding that part. You asked me before we started, like, what's a recent one for me? And I mean, honestly, it was this podcast.
Oh, that's a good one.
I didn't.
So break that down. How was that? How would you define that as a burn the boats moment?
Well, I didn't have a choice. I think maybe my boat was burned for me as well on this. And we've talked about this in a previous podcast, but we had to set the date, and we had to, like, we were doing it. So whether I wanted to mentally or not, and I love the podcast. So it's not, for me, it's, I don't like seeing myself on camera, and I don't like hearing my voice. And so, like, those are the things that I would tell myself and I would think. And so us setting that date is what had to happen for me, just to get over it and move forward and not look back. And I'm glad I did. I mean, there's so many things that have come from us doing this. But yeah, I needed somebody to set my boat on fire, too, and just set the date and say, we have to move forward from it. We can't keep looking back, and we can't keep talking about it. I think we talk about so many things in our business, but even in life, that we want to do, and we don't have somebody that burns that boat for us, that makes us do it.
Right. So we thank our amazing assistants here.
They burned our boat.
Both here, and watching from the other side here, but they're the ones that pretty much burned our boats for us.
Yep.
I mean, we said we were going to do it, but having set the date and announced it,
and they made us announce it.
When we filmed the video to announce that we were doing it,
there was no turning back.
There's no turning back anymore. We were going to look really, really foolish.
Yep.
And by the way, I'm proud that we did it. Over 10 episodes, going towards 15 episodes, and most podcasts that start out don't even last this long. People film a couple episodes and then they give it up because they're not getting the traction they want, or they don't like the way that they sound or look on camera or whatever. So I'm proud.
I am too. And it's gotten way better, right? Like, from our first, like, if we go back and look at the first one.
It could only have gotten better.
That's right.
First few, but that's okay.
But we didn't let that stop us.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And so many people let it stop you because you want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
And just starting something, you can make it better. And that's the fun part of it, right? Is making it better and better and better, and finding things that we can do. But man, if we would have waited to that, we just never would have done it. So definitely burn the boat. What about you? Tell me a burn the boat story for you.
So I've got a few of them when I look back at my life, like personal.
Yeah.
And I would say one that comes to mind that, I mean, it takes me back a ways and brings up, like, in the moment, was like a little bit maybe of a dark time in my life. But I was actually, maybe it was a kind of a not super dark time. But anyways, I had just gone through a divorce.
Okay.
And I was raised in I was raised not around divorce. Like, when I like, I think it was middle school before I even really knew what divorce was. My parents are still together. A lot of the families that I grew up around, mom and dad were still together. So
how many years have your parents been married now? I love your parents.
A lot. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, a lot. They have been married going on 60.
Wow, 60. Yeah. Sorry, I think that's cool. Like, that's an achievement. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. And it's so that kind of brings me to this is it was really super scary. I felt like a failure, coming out of that divorce because I'd never been around it, and I have somebody that, like, will not give up on something.
Yep.
But that I didn't really have a choice. But man, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. But then I was feeling pretty hurt, like, I wasn't in a fantastic place to think, oh, I will get married again.
Yeah.
And then I ended up meeting my wife, Amy. and my wife now, and I was not in a place that I wanted to get remarried. So there was always like a plan B,
Sure.
Not to get too far into it, but I was kind of playing the field a little bit.
Yeah.
And finally just hit a point. I was like, she is the one.
Yeah.
And deleted some numbers from my phone.
Going all in.
Yeah.
Going all in.
And went and burned the boats and said she's the one. And I would say like the biggest burn the boats moment with that is like getting down on one knee, buying the ring.
Yeah.
Probably
the smartest thing you've ever done was to get Amy.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit that is definitely, yeah. I will not try to argue that.
Yep, yeah. She's pretty awesome. She's I like it.
Probably the best thing that's ever happened.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, very, very cool. So it's just, you had to burn the boat. You had to get rid of the past, really. And, when we were in the sales rally, I've been in coaching for a long time. We went from a transition of a bunch of me and my really close friends being in one coaching program and moving to another coaching program, to ours. And this was my aha at the sales rally was I have kept looking back at what was,
mm-hmm.
and comparing to what was and everything I loved about what was, but what was had a lot of issues too, like a ton of issues.
Sure.
And so my future burned the boat. I think that's where the sales rally wanted us all to go mentally, is what boat do we need to burn right now?
Yeah.
What do we need to, in our life that we're dealing with right now, what do we need to burn right now and stop looking back? And so for me at this is that comparison, that maybe it's someone's old company that you compare yours to, or, old, like any of those things. But for me, it was an old coaching platform, and I need to burn that boat. I need to look at what we have, see how great and how wonderful, like we've got something incredible, and there's only more room for growth there. And so that was my big aha, is I want to let that go and only look forward when it comes to our coaching group. So
you kind of had one foot in. I never felt like you didn't have both feet in, but maybe like just a toe still not fully in, right?
Well, for me, more was comparison, and like I wanted everything to be perfect here and great here, and so there just was always like this kind of looking back of, well, we did it this way, kind of, and I have to stop that.
Yeah,
I have to stop that and burn that boat and let go of that. It was a great period of my life. I would never change it. It was I learned so much in a great season, but it was a season, and I'm in a new one, and I need to look forward. So it was a good, because I really, when I go to these things, I love to like take this stuff in, and really introspect. That's not the word I want, but you know what I mean. Look in myself and figure out.
That is the right word.
Is that the right
introspection
word? I did it.
Yeah.
I always mess up my words.
I'm proud of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good day. And where I wanted to change. So what about you? Did you have any at the sales rally that you said, this is from here on out what I want to burn?
Yeah, a little bit. And I think that I'm still like defining exactly what it is, but there is a piece of me that has, I feel like, been playing a little too small.
Oh.
And I've been on kind of coasting a little bit, which, I mean, it's been fine, but I just know, like, I'm not in my zone if I'm doing anything half-assed.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, and some of that is maybe at home.
Yeah.
We could all be better, right? We could always be better.
Yep.
And instead of just having this like, well, things are really good, I'm content, and burning the boat of contentedness, that's probably not a word.
Complacent,
Yeah.
Being complacent.
Yeah. But I'd say it's not complacent, I was content.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit different. Complacent is kind of lazy. It has like a lazy connotation to it, whereas content is like, I'm happy. I'm like, I don't need more.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person that is not good with being content.
Yeah.
I can only sit there for so long.
Yeah.
So, So I'm burning some boats of being content.
I like it. Well, let's share some tactics on
some ideas for the
ideas or what burn the boat could mean for somebody. To really like kind of sit back and think, what does this mean for me? And you and I were kind of chatting about some fun ways. What does it look like for someone to burn the boat? One that you said is buy the non-refundable ticket.
Buy a non-refundable first class ticket.
Well, what does that mean? Explain that.
Well, I mean, you're going to go take that. You're going to take that trip, right? Otherwise, you've just wasted that money. If you buy a refundable ticket, then you always know I got a plan B. Like, it's like buying that.
When you said that, I think of it being like a goal, right? Like, so I'm going to set this goal, and at the end of this, I'm going to go somewhere, first class, and you go ahead and set that. You go ahead and buy that ticket. Yeah. So now between here and there, I got to do this because I can't back out of it. It is non-refundable. So I just love that one. The other one we said was register for the race. Yeah. Got a few good friends that have been running marathons, and I have no desire to run a marathon if I'm being clear, but the passion, and I am so interested in them and what got them there, because I will tell you all of their stories started with, I'm not a runner. I don't like running.
Yeah.
And then they did it, right? And so what they had to do to get there, and what that looks like. But all of them registered for a race before they started the process, because then it's real, it's legit, it's their burn the boat moment. Like, they have to now to do it.
Yeah.
So I love that one too.
Yeah. Register for the race, tell people about it. Like, if you just register for the race, but don't let anybody know that you registered for it, you still kind of have a way out, right?
Yeah.
So let's apply it to business for a second. So as a realtor out there listening, what's something that they could do that would be a defining kind of burn the boat moment right now in this period that we're in?
Well, I think there's a lot of backup plans for realtors right now. They have a backup plan. I talked to one the other day who said, I bartended before this. I can always go back to bartending.
That's a great one. Having another job that they're just not fully committed to this one.
Yep.
Remove that safety net of the little extra cash that you're making on the side. So you've got to make this career work.
Yeah.
Because you can't do this. Neither of our industries, lending, real estate, they're not something that you can do half-ass. I don't
part-time.
Not do well.
I know.
Anyways.
Yep.
And so get rid of that second job.
Yep.
Cut that bait. Right. Yep. What would be it? You got any other ideas? Anything else out there would be a good idea for?
Well, let's talk about even our industry. I think that a lot of people in our industry it's an excuses.
Yeah.
Right. It's, well, I can't do a lot right now because rates are high.
Yeah.
Or I can't do a lot right now because my referral partners aren't working well, or they're not out there. They got second job. Like, it's all about somebody else.
Yeah. When
really it's about me, and it's about my choices and my decisions. We get coached by Todd, and Todd said to us, he told us this very short little story about a guy who isn't doing well in his industry, but he has a passion for dancing and like Dancing with the Stars kind of thing, and he did really, really well. And Todd said, well, how much time did you put into that? Like, that's incredible. What did you do for that? And he's like, oh my gosh, I put in probably 60, 70 hours a week preparing for that. And he's like, wow, just think what your business would look like if you put that into your business.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of like, that makes a lot of sense. We have this backup plan. We don't go all in. We don't really figure out what it's going to take to make it work because we haven't burned those boats.
Yeah. I think another that kind of came to me just now is the thought of, I hear from people a lot, I know that I am overworked. I have too much going on, right? And so I need to hire somebody. I should hire somebody, but I don't know if it's the right time, or I'm scared of how much that person's going to cost them.
Yeah.
So an assistant or a showing assistant or a buyer specialist or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they wait and wait and wait to make that hire. I would say make the hire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Go hire that person. A little pressure is just fine.
It is.
It's a good thing.
It is.
Right? So you're way less likely to fail if now you've got somebody else, you hired them, you're responsible for their paycheck.
Yeah.
Like, you got to go make this thing work.
You have to.
Yeah.
Budget. Let's talk about money really quick. You just said that and one came up to me. We teach a lot about personal budgets, and one thing that in our personal budget that we do is we have a survival number, right? And then the money
just covers all of
what you have to spend on a monthly basis.
Yeah. Your bills, your house payment,
yes.
groceries, gas.
All of that.
Yeah.
So we add all that up, and then they don't want you to have more than 3 months of that in your checking and savings account. And people do all the time. Some people do. But the reason they don't want us to have that more than 3 months in there is because we get very comfortable. Content. And we get very, I don't have to do all of this anymore. So in our personal budget, I mean, it's kind of a burn the boats. It's you get it out of there. You act like you don't have it. You move it somewhere else so that you have a driving force. Because when it's there, you're not. So it's just a small one that I was just thinking about too while we were talking about. That's a moment too. And it hit me. Like, I've been saving more in there than I should. I got to get it out. I got to go. I got to get going.
Okay, one more.
Yep.
And I think we can wrap this thing up. But real estate agents right now trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to grow my business? Like, I've got all these other things, all these little things I'm thinking about doing, and I need to do more social media. I need to do this. And I think Tony Long recently, one of our guests recently said, do more open houses, right?
Yep.
Well, you don't need to have the listing to go. Just go talk to everybody in your office and say, I'll take that open house. I'll take that open house. Like, you commit to that thing.
Yep.
Right? Instead of saying, I want to do that, go commit to it. Tell somebody you're going to do it. They're relying on you now. You got to show up. And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it well, right? So get really good at doing open houses and collecting people's information and getting buyers from those open houses.
Yeah, that's good.
Go do the door knocking. But first and foremost, go just commit to somebody that you're going to do open houses this week.
I like it. That's a good one too.
All right, you got any others before we wrap it up?
No, I think we're good. I think it was good. Gets me excited.
Yeah, I agree. To leave it at that, I'm just going to leave with the quote. I think it's Tony Robbins actually said it, but because of this whole story with the Spanish conqueror, if you want to take the island, you have to burn the boat.
Burn the boat.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Please share it. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.